Hello everyone, it's Sylvia from Fairlight Tarot. Welcome to my channel. Today it's going to be a long video, so make sure you have something to drink, something to eat, perhaps a snack or something like that, because there's going to be a lot of unboxing, lots of new things to check out. I went to Mind, Body, Spirit Festival in Sydney this weekend and I bought a few decks and I bought a couple of other things and I've spoken to people, so as always it's been very nice. So let's have a look. Okay, so first I want to start with the Rockpool stand. So like every year or twice a year even, we always find the Rockpool stand and the Blue Angel stand. I had a few things to say about the people at Rockpool the other time. Unfortunately I have to say that the situation hasn't changed. And so I don't know what's going on. Honestly, I have no idea, so I'm not going to say anything about it. But it feels very commercial. It feels very commercial. Just go there. It's not like it used to be, I have to say. And, you know, perhaps that's how things are meant to be right now. But there's not much of an interaction. There's just, you know, you go there. There's not much knowledge about the decks, probably because I have the impression that these, they probably hire someone for the day, of course, so you know, there's only so much you can ask out of someone who's not necessarily into tarot, and you don't expect them to know what to show you, you know, what to look for in a deck, etc. So there were people asking for advice, but this poor girl, and she was very young, and she didn't know, but you know, if you're hired for the day, you don't know about the products you're selling. It's impossible, right? So especially for something that, you know, when it comes to tarot, I mean, there's people studying tarot for decades. In any case, the decks were there. There's a few surprises in the sense that last time they didn't have any deck that was not already published. This time they have plenty of decks that had not been released yet. So this is, I'm guessing, a pretty worldwide preview of a few decks from Rockpool that have not been published yet, and they probably have been sent by Rockpool to a few tarot tubers, but I haven't seen them around. They haven't sent them to me. I paid for them with my money, so this is all not a paid commercial at all. But let's have a look. So this one is not new. This is a journal, and it's the Seasons of the Witch Samhain journal by Laurie-Anne Anderson. And you, of course, you will know the Seasons of the Witch Samhain Oracle, so it's very similar when it comes to the art style, when it comes to also the vibe, I must say, of this journal itself. And it's a Samhain journal, so you expect it to be in a certain way. I really love that both Blue Angel and Rockpool have started producing these journals. It's a very good value. I really appreciate it. It's a very affordable price. I think it was around $20 Australian. I'm not entirely sure that could have been a special price for the Mind, Body, Spirit. So I don't necessarily know whether this is 20 Australian dollars on Amazon, for example, or at your metaphysical bookstore, your Barnes and Nobles, etc. I'm pretty sure these are available worldwide because they have not been recently released. It's I think they've been released a few months ago, and it's a very beautiful journal. I love the fact that it alternates lined pages with blank pages. So in some cases you might want to write something, but in other cases you might want to perhaps draw a picture or something like that, and that really lets you do so. It's, as I said, a very similar vibe to the deck, to the Oracle deck, which I love. And so I was very happy to acquire this journal, which I am going to use for Samhain, but living in the Southern Hemisphere, it's a different date than Samhain in the Northern Hemisphere. So I'm not going to wait for October. So Australia is not just different when it comes to the dates in which Samhain is. So officially it's the night between the 30th of April and the 1st of May, because we are in the Southern Hemisphere. But it's also different when it comes to the feeling of the season. So we really want to feel the same as we used to. In my case, I used to live in the Northern Hemisphere, so I would love to have the same kind of objects related to Samhain. You know, the hot chocolate with whipped cream because it's cold and you feel like having one, or you know, wrapping yourself with a blanket at night, and it's not the same. So the 30th of April in Australia is not that cold. Uh, so it's a bit, you either create the same kind of feeling for yourself or you don't, or you know, you just follow the Northern Hemisphere. I think that for us in the South, it's a bit confusing at times. So I really enjoy and I really look forward to using this journal when the time will come. So staying with that, let's just have a look at this one. So this is the Stacey DeMarco 2024 Lunar and Seasonal Diary for the Southern Hemisphere, which is very useful if you just moved to the Southern Hemisphere, because obviously everything is upside down, and it's really interesting because it really tells you, you know, about the wheel of the year. It talks about elements and directions. So the earth is the north, the air is the east, fire is south, and water is west. It's very interesting what the astrological signs mean, etc. So this reads like a book almost, Deities of the Moon. That's very interesting as well. It reads almost like a book, like an I don't know, almost a study book, I would reckon. But it does have a little bit of room for you to write on day by day if you so wish, or you can use it as a journal for meditation, for example, or as a tarot journal. You just write down what the pool of the day is, etc. All in all, it's very beautiful. I always like it. The style of the cards is very nice. Of the pages, or the illustrations in the pages. I talk about cards all the time. So the style of the illustrations is very nice as well. It is a Stacey DeMarco. So if you're familiar with Stacey DeMarco's decks, which is, I don't know how many, she's made so far, a dozen or something like that. I kid you not. It's just a really very prolific kind of author, creator. So, I mean, if you are familiar with this diary, you will know it, and it's nothing new. So this one was actually given for free to the people buying something from the Rockpool stand that were also following Rockpool on Instagram. Again, I'm not sure whether they do the same for other Mind, Body, Spirit. I know that it's going to go to Melbourne, Brisbane, Adelaide, but also overseas in London, for example, and in Los Angeles. I don't necessarily know that they're going to repeat the same offer. This is what they were doing for Sydney. And it was very nice, of course. But let's move on to something that I think everyone was expecting, and it's this. So this deck is very new, and it's the Seasons of the Witch Lita Oracle. You are familiar with all of the other Seasons of the Witch oracles. We've had Samhain, then we had Yule, then we had, I think, Beltane, then Mabon, then Imbolc, and now we're having Lita. It's a bit all over the place. They're not sequential, but so be it. This is incredibly beautiful. It follows from the slight change that we had in the illustrations, in the style, that I think started with, Mabon. Yes, because it started with Mabon. So with Mabon and Imbolc, we had a different illustrator. So this is still created by Lorianne Anderson and Juliet Diaz, but it's been illustrated by Tihana Lukovic. And there's also a slight change when it comes to, or rather, they kept the change that they implemented with Mabon when it comes to the bottom message of the cards. It's not a poem anymore, like in Samhain, Yule, and Beltane. It's actually a message, not in poetry. So For someone like me who's not a native, I have to tell you, it's such a relief. I don't have to concentrate too hard on the words. I understand them immediately. It doesn't lift me away from the reading. I can stay with the cards. Everything else is exactly the same. So they've chosen a color, and it's a very nice purple, and you can see that from the backs, from the guidebook, from the inside of the box, for example, and also from the gilding on the cards, which is a glossy gilding. It is consistent with the production of all of the other decks in this, let's say, series, and so it's very appreciated. It's a really beautiful deck. The book is very similar to all of the others in this series. So I've done an unboxing, a worldwide preview unboxing for my members. We've talked about this deck. The moment I bought it, I literally rushed home and I filmed this unboxing for my members. And I've been playing with different tarot decks, pairing them up with this Oracle deck. We found out that the Gentle Tarot is still a winner when it comes to pairing, because it's really, it does share the same color palette and more or less also the same type of art style. It is a very beautiful deck, so it's not in order because I have been using it. And but I can assure you it's such an amazing deck. It reads like Lita. It reads like the same vibe of Lita, you know, the summer solstice, the way in which summer feels at its peak, but it already contains a little bit of the decay, you know, that comes with that kind of feeling, and that points to you know, the ending of the summer season and the morphing into something different, into something more of an autumn kind of feel. And it's absolutely gorgeous. I love, it's not 100%, let's say, hug cards or positive cards. There's a couple of confronting cards, which I do appreciate because it makes the deck more balanced. For example, the heat wave. The message at the bottom says there is something ominous being illuminated by the flames that await. And I absolutely love this because the heat wave, especially if you live in Australia, in those countries where the heat is a problem, you will have that kind of sense of not being able to stand up, not being able to find the energy for anything. And I really, clouds crying. I mean, we've all done this, haven't we? You know, just lying on the grass in a meadow on a summer day and just looking up at the sky, not a worry, and just looking at the shapes of the clouds and trying and find a similarity with something, and a known object, and interpreting that. So it is a really beautiful deck. It's a Lita. It's really a Lita deck. Now, I don't have the tarot, which is called Children of Lita. I used to know the name of Shia Hunt, something like that. And I'm thinking, and it was because of the borders. There was something in the oval kind of borders that I didn't necessarily resonate with. But I'm thinking you know, a deck that is specifically related or themed after Lita would be very interesting. So the Gentle Tarot pairs up really well with this, but it's a balanced deck, and it's a all seasons kind of deck. But I was thinking maybe something more specifically themed after Lita could be something to try out as well. In any case, this is going to be a long video, people, so I hope you have your coffee there. As I said at the beginning, I warned you, there's more than a few decks, and there's a couple of things. And let's see the next one. What do I want to open? Shall we go on with the ones that haven't been published and released yet? No, they have been published, they haven't been released yet. Or should we, because it's the majority of them. So yes, let's have a look at this one, for example. So this is what Rockpool is a starter calling Deluxe Oracle. But this one, you've been very familiar with this deck because it's actually by Travis McHenry. So Travis McHenry is a very prolific author, and he's also the author of The Magician, Martyrs and Madmen Tarot, which I absolutely adore. But he actually had a previous production with Rockpool of let's say these cards, but in 2 separate decks. So what they've done, they actually put the cards together. Okay, so let me just open this up so I can actually show you, because I don't like just talking about something. I really believe that it's just easier to show you rather than to explain. Okay, so I had a little bit of trouble with the wrapping. Now we're fine. So the Oracle of Heaven and Hell. And as you can see from the box already, we've got Heaven in the upper part of the card and Hell in the lower part of the card. And it's a very interesting deck because of that. So it's also a very interesting box. It opens up like that, as you can see. Not the best thing, because it already happened that I was holding it. It's not very tight. The fit is not very tight. So I already, you see, when you try and lift it by the upper part, because you might want to lift it like that, it doesn't work, because this is very bottom heavy. So obviously when you lift it by the top, you don't have enough give, let's say, to lift the whole deck. But it doesn't matter, it's just a detail. I'm not complaining about anything. I'm just, you know, telling you some things that you may see yourself when you buy, if you buy this deck. So the guidebook is very interesting. I had the opportunity, one thing that I really praise Rockpool for, but Blue Angel is doing the same recently, is that they always leave one copy of these decks open for you on the table to, you know, have a look at the cards, familiarize yourself with the guidebook as well, etc. I really appreciate that, because you know what you're buying, you know what you're buying. So as you can see, we got the Heaven and Hell, Heaven at the top, Hell at the bottom, as you would expect. We got an angel and a demon. So the thing is that originally I thought that it would have been some kind of a reading, the light aspect, the light side of a card and the shadow part of a card, but it's not exactly like that, because let's put it this way, not to all angels corresponds a demon, in the sense that the demon may represent the opposite of the angel. But there is a sense to these cards. There is a cohesion between the meanings. So it's not necessarily the opposite. But then again, when you read reversals in tarot, you don't always choose to read the opposite of the upright when you read the reversals. You know what I mean? So you need to know the various combinations. And I like it. I like this deck. It's very simple, but then again, if you have the other 2 decks, you will definitely recognize the upper part and lower part of the card. So it's nothing new, let's say. It's just that the combination has been made in such a way that in one deck you have 2. So that's, you know, I appreciate that. It was very affordable. Rockpool decks generally are. And you have a good value as well. Let me just lift it out of the box. They always put in the card to remind you that they have an app and you can download it. I've heard that at the beginning the app had several problems. It was crashing all the time. They seem to have fixed that. It's a chunky deck, as you can see. And it's a really beautiful ruby red, I would say, kind of gilding. It's gloss. And of course, as always, comes with a belly band. So this deck hasn't been released yet, but then again, they tend to do a pre-release in the US. So maybe if you're based in the US, you may have seen this deck already on the shelves. I'm not entirely sure. What I am sure about is that in Australia it has not been, let's say, released to resellers yet. So that was a bit of a, something really nice that they've done for the people participating to the Mind Body Spirit in Sydney. And something that I find that is very interesting is, learning something. It gives you the opportunity to, on the one hand, it gives you an additional layer of interpretation to the cards, because it tells you the name of the angel and the name of the demon. But also, it gives you the possibility to go back to the guidebook and, learn more about this specific angel or demon. And it gives you the possibility to go down the rabbit hole if you so wish, because obviously you just have to Google, you just have to buy books about angels and demons and stuff like that. Celestial beings. Ariel. Obviously, this is one of those decks that it's meant to be, let's say, shuffled with reversals, because you know, then you have the possibility to see whether the card wants to be read as Nithal or as Murmur, for example. So is it rejuvenation or is it overthrowing of authority? As I said before, it is not necessarily something that, you know, it's not a mirror. So it's not like there's a positive side to the card because of the angel and the exact opposite because of the demon. Rejuvenation is not the opposite of overthrowing of authority. But it is kind of interesting to see how they relate, for example. And so it is interesting to use the guidebook, and I highly recommend doing it if you acquire this deck and you're interested to learn a little bit more. And it's really fascinating. I've always been fascinated by angels and demons, by the stories related to them and what their powers are. And, you know, even the different ranks of angels and different ranks of demons. So it's one of those decks that I strongly believe can not just be an interesting oracle to use, but it can also be a study deck. And it can give you the possibility to find your passion if you like these kind of themes, let's say. So this is the, it's called the Oracle of Heaven and Hell. And let's see what else we've got here. So this next deck is also a preview because it has not been released yet. It is the Resurrection Oracle, Welcome to Your Life, and the creator is Jenna della Grottaglia. Jenna has made a couple of collaborations with Rockpool, and I have to say I like some of the decks, I like some others I don't. I feel that she's learned a lot, she's evolved a lot as an artist in the use of AI. A couple of decks that were published last year where I feel that they were not hitting the spot when it comes to, you know, the representation of the cards. And it's always oracle decks, so obviously you can't be entirely sure because oracles do not have a pattern to follow like a tarot deck. So it's always a bit difficult, and I don't want to discuss about AI because I think that we talked about AI even too much, and we need to see what happens next. We need to see what the regulations are. Let's see how it evolves. I'm not gonna say anything else about that because it feels like it's a bit trite as an argument now. Obviously, notwithstanding that everything needs to be done with a certain moral code. So, you know, that's never a trite argument. It's never a trite topic. But this is not, that doesn't have that kind of problem because this is all original work by Jenna. So the Resurrection Oracle, here is a place that is complex, full of events, emotions and moments that shape us continually. I love the concept of this deck. I didn't have a lot of time because it was starting to get busy. I went there early in the morning, but then, you know, towards lunchtime it starts to get busy, these festivals. And so, you know, everyone went to the Rockpool stand, and it started to be one of those situations in which you have to put your elbows out, otherwise you will be crushed. So I didn't have a lot of time to familiarize myself with this deck when I was there. But what I saw, I really liked. So I was convinced and I thought, you know, I'm just gonna get it because it looks really beautiful. And you know me, I already thought about a tarot deck to pair up with this oracle deck. I'm not gonna show you the pairings today because otherwise this video is gonna be way too long. This is just a, you know, a deck, recent decks roundup video. But I will find a way to publish a video with my favorite pairings for the month of March within perhaps 1 or 2 weeks. I like what I saw because there's a use of art which is actually very expressive, and within, let's say, within those kind of terms that are recognizable to the human eye. So the problem that I find in some rendition of AI is that they look too weird and they cannot be appreciated because it's the kind of weird that is not recognizable. I don't know if I'm saying something that doesn't make sense at all. I don't know if it makes sense to some of you, but that's how I felt when I was looking at some results of AI manipulation of a photograph, for example. I felt that it was outside of the scope of humanness. Humans can be weird, my goodness, of course, and I love, a certain kind of weirdness. However, when it was machine produced, it didn't feel human. Again, I don't know if I'm making sense or not. I hope that it will resonate for some of you. That's what I felt. This one feels human. I can definitely recognize myself. I can see that it's art generated in a certain way, but I'm 1000% fine with it. So I said at the beginning I didn't want to talk about AI, and here I am. It's a beautiful product as always, very nice box as you can see. The guidebook, we just had a look at it. So it comes gilded with this kind of really bright blue, I would say, glossy. It feels though like it's a very good kind of quality. The cardstock is matte and very papery. It's a kind of cardstock that, people like to... Oh, that's very thick. Sorry, I thought it was actually 2 cards. My goodness, it's very thick. Oh, very thick. Okay. Well, I'm okay with that. Absolutely fine. It makes it sturdier and it's not particularly stiff. So I like that it's thick, but it's still a bit flexible. Look, I don't know if you can see how thick it is, but it is. The feeling is that it is thicker than the other decks in the same kind of line. So they call them the Oracle, Deluxe Oracle, let's say. I don't know how many cards there are. 36. Okay, well, you see, that's the problem. When I saw it like this, and I thought that the cardstock was going to be thinner, I thought, oh, there's going to be at least 44 cards. But no, it's thicker, and as a matter of fact, I checked how many cards there were because I thought there's going to be less than 44, and yep, it's 36, which is not what we like. We like at least 44 cards. I strongly believe that there is a message from the tarot community that Oracle decks, yes, there is no manual 101 to produce an Oracle deck, it's true, but there are a few requirements from the tarot community, and because many of us actually use these decks in combination with tarot, and tarot has got 78 cards, you need at least 44 in order to make it worth it. But in any case, it doesn't matter. I mean, if it's a beautiful... I've got a couple of Rose Carabel Oracle decks that I absolutely adore, and there's only 32 cards, so this is making a liar out of me because I'm not necessarily sticking to what I say all the time. School days, okay, school days. That's gonna be interesting to read. Coming of age. Oh, of course, because it's stages of life. See, I didn't have the opportunity to go through the setting of this deck. Crossing over. Oh, wow. That's beautiful. A life well lived. The dreams state. The coupling. Your first time. Growing all gracefully. Nice. Bats in the belfry. Okay, that's something that I will have to check. Calm before the storm for sure. Unconditionally. Some of these cards you can see that I'm struggling to separate them because the gilding actually does make it so that they stick one to the other. But generally speaking, after the first time that you just separate them, they're gonna stay put. The face you put on, wow, that's a strong card. That's a really strong card, beautiful as well. Blind Faith, the Mother of Invention, okay. Into Temptation, beautiful. I really like the art style. Face value. It is so thick that each and every card I feel like, oh, it's 2 cards sticking together, but it's not. Confidence is key, absolutely. finding your spirituality. So you see that 90% of the card, at least in so far, are very straightforward. So the messages on the side here, that they don't necessarily need an interpretation. You can definitely use your intuition to read them. Turning point, for example, finding your niche. But then there's one or two that don't make much sense to me, and I will have to seek and tire. Oh, wow. And I will have to go back to the guidebook, which is fine, because as you know, if you watch my channel, you know I'm a big supporter of guidebooks. Lean on me. Oh, that's so beautiful. That's amazing. The departure and the lament. I love this deck. I love the artwork. It's just, you know, first impressions, of course. I haven't started working with it, so perhaps I won't find any way to work with this, but I think I will. And I already know what tarot decks, actually 2 tarot decks I want to pair it with. So stay tuned for the video in which I'm going to show you pairings. So this is the Resurrection Oracle. And next to that deck, in the same pile, let's say, there was this deck. So this is the Heal Yourself Oracle by Ina Siegel. Intuitive guidance to transform your soul. We're still talking about Rockpool decks because it was still the Rockpool stand. I do have a couple of Blue Angel. Is it a couple or just one? I think it's just one. I have a Blue Angel deck. And as I said, I couldn't speak to the girls because they were also very busy, I have to say. When it started to fill up, there were a lot of people coming in and asking questions, and which is a pity, honestly, because I always look for interactions. So open your heart and mind towards real transformation. Yes, are we ready for that? Of course. So Ina Siegel, also an artist that has produced, a creator, a very prolific, that has produced a few decks with Rockpool. And again, even for this deck, I didn't have necessarily a lot of time to familiarize myself with it. The reason why I got it was because I have a deck that will pair up really nicely with it. But let's have a look at the guidebook first. So by the way, I noticed the backs are really nice. I like them. They're not reversible, that's fine, because I don't think it's necessary to read reversals in an oracle, unless, you know, like the Oracle of Heaven and Hell, it is designed to be read with reversals. But I really love this kind of vintagey look at the backs of the card. So it's got the color purple. It does remind me of Lita, the purple that they chose for the gilding on the Lita cards. So let's have a look. Introduction. My dear open-hearted reader, you're holding this booklet because there is a stirring deep inside your soul that says there is more to life than what you have experienced so far. You may not know exactly what you need to change. You may just feel that it is time for you to transform and to receive real self-love, intuitive guidance, courage, and healing. This deck is visceral, emotional, and raw, expressing both the light and the darkest sides of life. Okay. Interesting. So we're already setting our expectations. It's going to be a wild ride. It tells you how to use the card. It tells you 1 card pull, 3 or 4 card reading. And then we're going straight onto the cards. So what you see is there's a thumbprint with a full color thumbprint of the card, and we've got the keyword, we got a sentence, a message. For example, for dreams, we've got pay attention to your dreams. They hold lots of significant insights for you at present. My dreams are all over the place. I'm not entirely sure that my dreams hold a lot of significant insights. Some dreams for sure, but I feel like sometimes I'm just waking up and saying, what was that about? And it was just all kinds of weird. So Wheel of Dreams may provide you with important details about your current health issues. Or a creative idea you need to action to make your desires manifest. So it tells you a little bit about the card and the interpretation of the card, and then it gives you an action. What this action is, let's see. Before going to sleep, place a glass of water next to your bed. I always do that. I drink a lot during the night. I don't know why. I'm always very thirsty. I literally wake up and I'm thirsty. Position this card over the water. Okay. With an intention to remember your dreams. Let the card energize the water. Then take a few sips of the water. Relax and think about a question you would like answered. You can write your question in a notebook or repeat the question to yourself as you drift off to sleep. I love that because, you know, it gives you something to do. It gives you something to focus on, a ritual, something you can do for yourself. It's very nice. In the morning, drink some water from the glass and write down anything you can remember from your dreams. Be particularly aware of the feelings associated with a specific scene in your dream. That I agree on. It's not necessarily the symbolism of the dreams that I try and interpret, but the feelings associated with something specific, absolutely. It can reveal a great deal about how you unconsciously feel about yourself and the people in your life. Yes, absolutely, I agree with that. Ooh, nice card. Okay, so what do we got at the end of the book? It talks about the author, hello Ina, and the illustrators Chris Ortega, that's it? No, and Drazenka Kimpel. Sorry if I mispronounced that. So it's, yeah, I have a feeling it's going to be very interesting. So you probably know me. When I saw this, I was like, yep, this is gonna pair up really well with the Tarot of Vampires. It's like absolutely the same kind of vibes, the same kind of, let's look at the cards properly. Sorry about that, I was just shifting through them. I feel like it's got the same kind of art style, the same kind of color palette. And again, I feel like I really want to pair it up right now, but I'm like, no, I have to resist, otherwise this video is going to be 3 hours long and no one wants a video 3 hours long. So very, very strong characters here. They really expressive. They are piercing the fourth wall by looking through it, breaking it, and just looking and inviting you into the card itself. It's also very, let's say in a way it's very sensual. It's a very sensual deck. It reminds me so much of the Tarot of Vampires. You know which one I mean? Ian Daniels one? But the one that spells vampires with a Y. Vampires. Steampunk. Lots of steampunk decks lately. So many steampunk decks. Phoenix Rising, Sexual Arts, Entrapment, Home, and Hole in the Soul. Wow. Okay. 36 again. I have to say it's as thick as the other deck by Jenna della Grottaglia we just saw, the Resurrection Oracle. I don't know whether this is the direction they're taking, but if this means that it's going to be decks with only 36 cards, let's say it has to be a really good deck. Because it's, honestly, and it's not just me, it's the whole tarot community that says that minimum 44. It has to be a really good deck. But in any case, I can't wait to pair it up with the Tarot of Vampires. It really feels like it's got a similar kind of energy. So this is the Heal Yourself Oracle by Inosigo. And the next deck is also one of the decks that has not been released yet. It's the Anamchara Oracle. Be guided by your loving soul companion. This is a Gaelic name, so I'm guessing Sersa Shonach or Shinach. Sorry, Sersa Shinach. Again, my apologies if I'm mispronouncing that. I don't know Gaelic, unfortunately. I would love to. So let's do the unboxing as always. It's not one of the deluxe Oracle decks by Rockpool. It's still Rockpool. It have a linen embossing kind of feel to it. On the box, which is very nice. Let's see. There you go. So this one is a little bit tight, this box. And let's have a look at the guidebook. This one feels like it's got more cards, but I'm not entirely sure. Be guided by your loving soul companion. This work is for Mana, the Golden Lion, and Gabriel, my lighthouse in all storms. Oh, that's a dedication. Oh, that's so nice. It's really nice. Content, introduction, nesting, how to use the cards, map. Nesting. Each one of us has their own way of translating their perceptions into emotions, knowledge, and skills. This is the very definition of our unique being, how what we look at through the spyglass is transformed. We are shapers of reality, which is why I would never tell you your reality is wrong, of course. We just share concepts and images that help us understand each other and cross the bridge between our realities. That's nice. That's a nice concept. I love the concept of the bridge because I use it all the time. Of course, society, education, and reference frames shape us as well, but our singularity resides in our very differences and similarities beyond any cultural implication. I love that. This is why love is a universal language and art needs no words. Thank you for that. I love that concept, that we can definitely feel the common things between all of us. For me, is the way the body works. It's the neurobiology of the brain that makes us all the same, because our brains are all the same. That's something unique. I believe that when we find similarities between our own selves, so the way that nature has built our bodies, the way in which our bodies function is the same across all the cultures. If we feel fear, we feel it in the amygdala. And there's a lot of ways to express ourselves, and that might differ. But the origin of everything, the origin of that expression is the same. And I love that. Each card is in this oracle is a channeled message from an Anamchara and has a hand-painted illustration that was realized intuitively, a title followed by keywords and an incantation, a short text to explain the meaning of the card, and an action you might like to undertake. Okay, that's a lot of, and it's got a couple of spreads here that you might want to use. Anamchara Oracle cards, and then it starts with the cards. Life flame, self-love, divine self, spark that brings all matter to life. I am divine and I am human. In both I bloom. Okay, then the explanation of the card and then an action. Let's have a look at the cards because again, didn't have much time. I just have a quick look. I think I spent way too much time looking at Lita, which I knew I was going to buy anyway. And then I didn't spend enough time looking at the other Oracle decks that I was interested in buying. But in any case, this is it. So I feel that even though we still have the same type of glossy gilding, but it's kind of a champagne orangey kind of color. It's a nice, yeah, I would say very light orange. I don't know how it comes across in the camera, but okay, it's more gold in the camera. No, I can assure you in real life it's a lot more orangey than gold. Same kind of, you know, papery kind of feel, very ASMR. I love that. And oh, Frida, hi Frida. Creative thinking, yeah, definitely. On the edge of emptiness, spirit, help this world to be shaped. Okay. Vessel, blessed be my body as the vessel and its shepherd. Okay, that's an interesting, I am the artist of my power, my magic becomes reality. It feels like a prompt for a meditation or for journaling in any case. So again, with the gilding, some of the cards are sticking together. It's not just the thickness of the cardstock this time. How many cards are there? 44! Thank you! You see, you know that. So had this one been anything but 44, I would have thought, okay, they lost their way. They don't know how many cards we like to see in a deck. But they do know. Okay, crone. Oh, I love this. Oh, I love this drawing. Look, there's this crone hanging on for dear life and riding a turtle. I love that. And she's wearing glasses. Such mysteries I hold, but as one we build the story whole. Oh, that's really beautiful. Do you guys have a Paulina, Paulina Faye, yes. Paulina Faye kind of vibe out of this deck. I'm thinking if it would pair up well with the Joie de Vivre Tarot, or maybe the Paulina Tarot. Probably not the Animal Spirit, because the color palette will be different, but the Joie de Vivre, I think, and the Paulina would probably pair up well with this. I don't know. Oh, Thief. Strange may feel the truth, but stranger will I be if I don't free myself. Okay. And these are, excuse me, these are leprechauns, guys. I've just been to Ireland. These are leprechauns. Okay, crossroads with a chameleon. Oh, of course, the stones, the sacred stones. So these are Celtic stones, and I've seen a few. Well, you can see them also in Stone Age, but in the northern islands, north from the Isle of Skye in Scotland, there's an island which is full of these stones, and they're absolutely beautiful. I do feel like there's this kind of artwork reminds me a lot of the busyness of Paulina Faye's artwork. I love it. I like it. I mean, it's something that I appreciate. I'm saying it in a positive way, of course. So, hello. Doesn't want to get unstuck. Shadow. In darkness is born the moon, and beyond the night I rise as a new light. That's nice. And light, of course, shadow and light, midnight sun, Yule, and then you have the seasons, don't you? Oh no, only, why do we have only 4? Okay, Yule, Ostara, Lita, and Mabon. Okay, these are the main. Okay, fair enough. Love the backs as well. I have to work with this deck to know if I like it or not. At first, it looked like it wouldn't resonate. It wouldn't be my art style. But then when I saw this card, I thought to myself, there's more to what I saw. You know, at first glance, it's actually quite complex. And when I start to think that it may pair up well with the Paulina Faye's decks, you know, that's something that always makes me happy. So we'll have to see. But so this is the Anamchara Oracle. And we got another oracle by Rockpool, published by Rockpool. So this is the Deadly Apothecary Oracle. Poisonous plants as guides and healers. I've seen this deck. This has been already released. It's not a sneak preview, let's say. I've seen this in a couple of channels. I think it's a very interesting one. I think Lisa Papez talked about this deck in one of her videos, where she talks about the new releases or the upcoming releases. So I think it's an interesting deck. When I was watching the videos, thinking to myself, do I have a specific space for this deck or not? I don't know. But it was really affordable. It was only 20 Australian dollars. So obviously, you know, it's almost as if you want to try it out and then you know that you can rehome it, because there'll always be someone who's interested, or there'll always be someone who's going to honor the deck more than I do if I'm going to end up just leaving it on a shelf. And that's something that, you know, it really gives me a motivation to try these decks out. Now there is a message here. It says, a note on poisonous plants. In these modern times, these plants must not be I am wearing glasses, as you can see, but they're not strong enough apparently. Must not be touched or consumed unless administered by a trained practitioner. Okay, fair enough. So it's a disclaimer. I'm guessing because they give you a lot of ways to use these plants and they don't want people to sue them. Fair enough. How to use the cards. It gives you, as always, a kind of you know, a couple of spreads that you can use, and then it goes into the cards. So the poison and the antidote. Yes, I remember Lisa making a comment about this, that it looks almost as if it were telling you the upright meaning of the card and let's put it this way, the shadow and the light meaning. As always, you know, botanical decks, you've got the botanical name in Latin, you got the name in English, you got the energy, other names, of course, traditional medicinal use, and the magical historical use. That's obviously very interesting. I think I might be captivated by this deck. I think I may like it, and I'm already thinking about a couple of tarot decks that I might want to pair up with it. So you never know. I mean, as I said, it was very affordable, and I'm happy to give it a try because I cannot possibly know if I'm going to resonate with a deck if I don't use it. So this gilding is slightly different. It's a matte gilding. It's a very blood red kind of, gilding. And it's one of those, I already see that one of the cards is damaged already. I don't know whether it's just this card or I have a feeling that this is the kind of gilding that gets chipped quite easily, but it's okay because, as I said, $20 Australian, so I can't complain at all. These are the backs. So the Shrine, wow, okay, we start with a bang. So the Shrine Angel, geez, soul contracts. Goodness, okay, wow, bang, really. Death Cap, you step into power. Hemlock Water, drop word, trust a feeling. Black Hellebore, drop the drama. Am I liking this deck? Angel's Trumpet, open your mind. Bearberry, just ask with an exclamation mark. Lily of the Valley, open your heart. Arum Lily, courage of convictions. Sorry, this is really sticky. Snowdrop, go with the flow. Stinging Nettle, rethink restriction. Boggled Posy, gossip and kindness. Poison Ivy, Psychic Vampire, awesome. Poison Ivy, Psychic Vampire. Do you mind if I actually have a look at the meaning on the guidebook, because I have an idea but I'm not entirely sure. Poison Ivy. Okay, we know what the Latin name is. The energy is creeping, blistering and tranquilizing. Eastern Poison Ivy, Poison Vine. Used in homeopathy, it is deemed to be a good remedy for sprains and arthritis. Magical historical use. It holds a very protective energy and can be used in spells for blocking unwanted interactions with others. I think, okay, I might be completely wrong here, and I'm totally improvising in the sense that I'm filming this literally I'm thinking about what to say as I'm filming, let's put it this way. But when I was little, I used to go to the mountains in the Alps in Italy all the times, in the Dolomites, because my auntie used to have a house. And I spent there because in Italy you have a long holiday for school children. You got 3 months every year in summer. 3 months, yes, I'm not kidding, 3 months. It used to be the second country in the world with most holidays. And of course we loved it. So I used to spend 3 months in the Dolomites with my auntie. And she was telling me about how to use poison ivy, because once I happened to fall into poison ivy and my skin got a really bad reaction, like an allergic reaction. I got covered in hives pretty much straight away. It was really, like, generally speaking, people would get itchy skins. In my case, it went on steroids. It went haywire. I was in a lot of pain. My auntie was very worried because my skin has got all sorts of reactions. It probably looked scarier than what it was. It was just a very red, angry red kind of allergic reaction. But my auntie, and of course I was like, oh, I hate this plant, I hate it. And my auntie was like, no, don't. Never end up hating something just because the first approach to it was not the happiest. And she actually told me about this protective energy. I think I blocked that out because it's not something you would think about it, but let me just read further. So the poison, the disempowered poison ivy is an energy or psychic vampire and a bit of a taker in friendships. Okay, so we're talking about an archetype here. This is an archetype. They like useful friends and often ask for favors without returning them, but they seem to have forgotten that friendship isn't a two-way street. Definitely talking about an archetype. So the psychic vampire, so it's just the energy vampire, typical energy vampire. We all have that person in our lives that just seems to take and take and take and never give back. And every time, I have to say, every time I'm on the phone with someone like that, I end up dehydrated. Yeah, not the happiest of interactions. The antidote. So I'm guessing this is a good archetype. I don't know. Friendship is a mutual relationship built on respect and reciprocation. If poison ivy shifts the focus away from themselves for a moment, they may realize that their friends also need help and support. Ah, no, it is definitely, it's not the shadow and light. It's definitely the poison and the antidote. Literally what it says. So a way to heal the poison, the damage of the poison, the negative effect of the poison. So if the archetype of poison ivy is to be a psychic or an energy vampire, the antidote is for this person to actually notice, start being aware of other people's feelings around them. Okay, got that. Okay. So are they your archetype then? Sorry, I'm literally just, these are first impressions. Let me see, cannabis. Disempower cannabis is easily overwhelmed. Yes, definitely. And then the antidote has the potential to become a powerful healer once they have completed their shadow work. Okay, that's a very interesting take for an oracle, because it's not just, this could be a really good archetype deck, you know? I mean, referring to the plants, and obviously if they had more than 36 cards, we will actually have a very complete kind of spectrum when it comes to archetypes. The cuckoo pint, okay. Cannabis, we've seen it. Okay, this could be really interesting. Mistletoe, giant hogweed. Sorry, I always have to separate the cards. Foxglove, I love the color of foxglove, is my favorite type of lavender. Bluish kind of lavender, really like it. Opium poppy, belladonna, that's a really powerful poison. Monk's hood, larkspur. All these names that are difficult to pronounce for me. I don't know if you're noticing, but I struggle. Madonna lily is not difficult. Mandrake, I know. Henbane, black bryony. Gee, they're really sticking together. Sorry about that. Narcissus. I didn't know Narcissus was a poison. Narcissus to me is just a flower, so maybe the stems in the powder in the flower is poisonous. I don't know. Nutmeg. I know some lilies are poisonous to cats. I need to be very careful about that. Castor bean, hemlock, holly, and cherry laurel, yew, and liberty cap mushroom. You know what? I'm very intrigued by this deck. Very, very intrigued, because I have archetype decks. But it's interesting that they tell you, okay, so the archetype is not necessarily the most lovable person on the planet, but if they do this and that, then they can turn their lives around. So that's very interesting. So the next deck is actually from Blue Angel. So I went to the Blue Angel stand as well. This one has been already released, at least in Australia. Blue Angels does release decks in Australia first and then the rest of the world. I have something to say though. I only bought, there were a lot of new decks that I really liked. There was a steampunk insect oracle deck that looked absolutely adorable, and another horse-based or themed deck that looks really nice as well. But I have to say, Blue Angel's prices are through the roof right now. I don't know, I mean, they want the $50-60 for a deck, and you've seen how many I bought at Rockpool, and then I bought other stuff, so I bought only one. You know, only one deck. I know that they will eventually end up in Amazon, and I'm really sorry to say this, but sometimes, you know, we have to look at the prices of the decks as well, and in Amazon you generally speaking find them for at least a 10% discount. So I'm just going to wait to get them on Amazon, because the one with the steampunk insect was really adorable. I had the opportunity to have a look at it. And the girl, you know, on the contrary, the girl at the Blue Angel deck stand was really lovely. She was like, yeah, of course you can film. Yeah, it's absolutely fine. And she was really nice. Yeah, so I'm sorry, but you know, sometimes you have to look at your budget, obviously. So this is the Medieval Feathers Tarot. So Blue Angel, you probably remember Blue Angel because of the Oracle decks, and you definitely remember Blue Angel because of the Soul Mirror Oracle, which is by far one of my favorite Oracle of all times. And I'm also doing this giveaway. So if you haven't entered the giveaway yet, there is a video that I posted a couple of, no, not a couple of weeks ago, maybe a week ago. And it's called a huge unboxing and a giveaway. And if you watch the video, I explain, I give instructions on how to enter the giveaway. So that's going on until the 15th of March, day in which I will close the entries for the giveaway, and then I will use a spin in the wheel to, you know, to sort out who the winner is. Why was I talking about that? Ah, yeah, the Soul Mirror, the Soul Mirror Oracle. So you'll know Blue Angel because of the oracle, many oracles that they release. This one is a tarot deck. It's not the first tarot deck. I think they also release the Tarot of Light. Every now and then they come out with a deck. But this one is very unique, I have to say. And I really enjoy it. So just to give you an example, the guidebook is very good as well. So you've got the, by the way, it's a Marseille. Sorry, I don't think I said that. So it's a Marseille. So obviously we have, you know, Marseille style minors, and but it's a really beautiful set of minors as well. It's not Pipish minors. Sorry, it is Pipish minors. Of course, it's Marseille minors. So what I mean to say is that they're not lazy pips, and they're called in French, of course, being it Marseille. The guidebook is in English, of course. It's very nice. It's very interesting, and I have to say they're doing a really good job at giving you the meaning specific to Marseille, the interpretation of that specific card specific to Marseille, and not just a general numerological kind of approach. So, but let's have a look at the cards first. So what I can do, I can pull a card later, and then we'll have a look at what the guidebook says, just so you can have an idea. So really good production value, I have to say. This matte gold, really nice, I like it. And very big cards, so just to give you an idea, do I have? I think I do. I have a standard size Los Carabeo deck close by, so I'm just gonna show you. This is the standard size of a tarot deck, and this is the Tarot of Feathers, the Medieval Feathers Tarot. So as you can see, it's wider and also taller. And so let's have a look at the cards. As I said, it's a Marseille. It's got that kind of vintagey look to it, and I like that. Sorry. So we got keywords. So we got the French title, of course, being Marseille. Then we got the English one. Then we got a keyword. But we also have a keyword associated with the reversed meaning. Is it all about reversals today? I feel like it's all about reversals today. And as I said, it's got some kind of a vintagey feel to it. To be honest with you, my immediate response to these cards will be to actually trim off the white borders, because I don't need the English title, and I'm always a bit, how should I say this? I have mixed feelings about the keywords. When it's just one keyword, it doesn't give me a lot of room to move, and I don't like to be constrained to something. So in many cases I may read it in a different way. And the fact that, for example, the Hermit, yes, it is one of the keywords, is detachment, but I wouldn't say it's the first one that comes to mind. And so I don't want to be, you know, just channeled too much on one keyword that is presented here when it doesn't necessarily coincide with the keyword that I have in mind. But in any case, let's see. But it does feel like it wants to be trimmed. Oh wow, that's a beautiful death card, by the way. I really like the style. Wow, wow, look at the devil. Goodness. Okay, I did not expect that. So we've got 216. We have La Maison Dieu. So let me just check on the guidebook, because this is totally, I did not know that. Well, I didn't expect that, so I didn't look for it, obviously. So we have 216. So La Foudre with lightning. La Foudre, lightning is precisely what this man has seen. I was lucky enough not to get struck by. Okay. It is the upright meaning. Is it time? It is time for you to break free from any constraints, physical or mental. So I need to trim it? Is that what you want to say? That are limiting you from doing what you want and discovering new things to appreciate. Okay. The reverse meaning is stagnation. You have not been careful with your projects and personal problems. Because of this, everything you have tried to achieve will remain idle, unable to progress. The feather. The phoenix's feather advises that everything motionless will soon animate itself and come to life, showing you that anything is possible if you only believe. Okay, I'm just gonna have to, dig into this deck, obviously. And perhaps there is an explanation why it's got 2 trump number 16. Doesn't look like it explains it here. Inspiration. Okay, there you go. So the medieval feather star echoes tarot decks from the past, the images and the cards from the Alejandro's dreams. Okay, no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't remember what he dreamed about, only that it involved feathers and medieval themes. When our inspiration to create comes in a dream and we can't remember the details, it never hurts to look back in history to see how we can replace that missing pattern. Okay, but it's not what I wanted. Okay, because the medieval feather star is a peep deck rather than a scenic deck, such as the Rider-Waite and many other modern decks, it includes direct references for the minors and parts of the trumps from the earlier Italian and French tarot deck from the 15th and 18th century. These are the decks which inspired the illustrations within the cards. Jean Noblet, Jacques Vieille, the Carriel, the Budapest tarot, which I don't know, the Flaman or van de Bora tarot, Tarot Bolognese, Medieval Tarocchi, Pierpont Morgan Bergamo, Visconti di Modrone, Minchiate, and Zodiac Anatomy. Okay, but these are all called Marseille, though. These are all under the what you call the umbrella definition of Marseille. If you know French, you notice some card titles are misspelled or grammatically wrong. This is not a mistake, that's a purpose for this. Yeah, of course, that's antique, ancient French. Alejandro wanted the titles and pictures to be as accurate as possible. While the original antique texts were Italian in origin, he chose to follow the structure of the cards produced in Marseille. Okay, so we are on the same page, Alejandro. In the 17th and 18th centuries, the Tarot de Marseille is the name given to several decks produced at this time, yeah. They were unique in that the beat cards continued the tradition of representing swords, wands, coins and cups, whereas elsewhere in France these cards were produced showing the symbols of playing cards we're familiar with today: spades, clubs, diamonds and hearts. The other unique feature of these decks was that they maintained the 4 core cards in each suit: king, queen, knight and page, whereas the French tradition of producing cards only showed 3. Okay, we know that. La Maison Dieu, there you go. Ah, there is, okay. As such, the titles follow those shown on the Marseille decks, which introduced the La Maison Dieu to replace the Italian La Foudre. I will have to do some research on that. I was used to the Maison Dieu. See what I mean? We never stop learning. We never stop learning. Okay, so very interesting. My apologies if there was a little bit of confusion. I felt like, yes, definitely Marseille. But then Marseille has got La Maison Dieu, not La Foudre, so, and I didn't know that it was, taking into account both of these aspects. So very interesting. Wow, very, very interesting. So yeah, absolutely. We got La Foudre, we got the Maison Dieu. Now, in this case, would I use both cards? Or would I? What would you do? Let me know in the comments below. If you have this deck, the Querent, if you have this deck, let me know how you use it. Do you keep both the Tower cards? Because, it's just adding up to the possibility of drawing it. But as I was saying, really beautiful. I like the illustrations of the pips. Of course, yes, I can see feathers pretty much everywhere, which is fine. By the way, sorry, I did not mention, I kept on saying it's Alejandro. Alejandro is obviously the creator of the deck, and his full name is Alejandro Rozan. And this is the book and the concept, and the The text is by J. Rivera. It's got that kind of vintagey feel to it. There is a vintage tarot by Los Carabel, but that's an RWS, so obviously it's not like this one. The cards are really nice. It's the same card stock as most of the new Oracle decks by Blue Angel. So it's very nice. It's got that really silky feel to it, but you still can fan the cards without any kind of stickiness to them. So really interesting deck. I will definitely spend a few hours, you know, just studying the deck and understanding this system. So that was the last deck, as in tarot and oracle deck, but I did stop by a couple of different stands and I bought a couple of different items. And so let me just show you. So this is a crescent moon trinket dish, and we've got here, yeah, of course. So this is a candle holder. It's a really beautiful one. Let me just, porcelain. And yeah, really nice color. It's actually, it happens to be my favorite color. This is a kind of a teal blue, but in my case I might also use it as a ink vial stand. So I don't know if you watch my videos, you will know that I'm into fountain pens and fountain pen inks. And when you get down the rabbit hole for fountain pen inks, there's like a million different shades and a million different inks. And what they do is something magnificent, because they don't force you to buy the whole bottle, but you can also purchase a sample, like a tube, a test tube, but with 2 millimeters of that ink, which means that I've got something like 200, and it's very cheap, it's like $2. So I've got something like 200 of those, you know, laying around, collected during the years. And I really like doing color swatching with that. But most of the time, you know, the test tube would just fall and you lose all the ink. So if you put it in here, obviously you avoid that. Or, you know, you can use it as it's meant to be used, as a candle holder. Very nice. It's got a very strong weight to it, so you know, it won't tip over. It's very sturdy. And this is a crescent moon. So this is from Jenny from Inspired Lifestyle. So they have a really beautiful stand. If you're in Sydney, well, actually no, because I'm posting this video on Monday, so the festival ended on Sunday, but they may come back, you know, for the next Mind, Body, Spirit Festival. And actually Jenny was telling me that she's also organizing this kind of festival on a smaller scale, perhaps in different parts of Sydney, every couple of months, if I understood correctly. So it's something that is very interesting. If you're in Sydney, if you're in the area, just you know, you can, I always put the contacts in the description box below for all of these. And obviously if you want to purchase some of the decks that I've been showing today, I will give you the link to do so, or if you just want to have a look, you can do so as well. So Jenny was saying, we had a nice conversation, because I was telling her what I do, my channel, and I was also telling her that I've been doing this for years, so I just go to these festivals and I try and have a nice conversation with the people there. And, you know, and she had the same impression as me. So I was saying, you know, it feels almost as if it's something that is supposed to be from the heart, that is supposed to connect people. It's becoming more and more commercial. It's becoming more and more transactional. It's becoming more and more a matter of going, you know, to a place and seeing something you like, not even having a conversation with the person who made these things, these objects, and then you know, asking how much it is, paying the price, and then going home. And you miss out on so much. You miss out on the interaction, but you also miss out on the intention, because these objects have been made with an intention. It's not just products like that. So this is a crescent moon, for example. I really like it because it's, well, it's not just a beautiful thing. Look at that. It's not just beautiful, but because there is an intention here. You know, it's got the phases of the moon, it's got a few stars as well. And, you know, it's made in such a way that I can put my rings in there. So, you know, something like that, for example. But I can also use it as decoration. I can use it in the background of my videos. And so I was very happy. I'm always very happy to buy, even if it's small things, because then that's an opportunity for me to get in touch with someone else and hear what they have to say and what the intention was behind their shops, and what do they think about the mind, body, spirit related businesses and how they're evolving in this world. So it's always a nice conversation, I have to say. So these two from Inspired Lifestyle, and then we've got something else. So as you can see, this is a skull. This material is marble. So this has been carved out of a piece of marble. And then there is this with the technique of the Kintsugi. So we know what the Kintsugi is, because I talk about Kintsugi all the time in my channel. But if you're not familiar with it, it's the Japanese technique of putting back together two pieces that are broken and making them look even more beautiful by using, for example, gold powder or silver powder in such a way that they express and they take on a different essence. So this is really heavy. It's marble. It's heavy. When I got it, I put it in my bag. My shoulders were like, yeah, no, we're not happy about it. But I absolutely love it. I find it very, very unique. So I got this one from Shambalah and Co. However, this is not, and I was talking to Caroline from Shambalah and Co, and Caroline explained to me that they are actually reselling these products that have been made by a different artist. Now, to be honest with you, I didn't catch the name of the artist. My apologies for that. It was very noisy, I have to say. So we had to get our heads really close to each other to understand each other. It was a rather noisy background. So, but we agreed to reach out on Instagram and in the next few days, and then she will give me the contacts. So as soon as I get the contacts, I will get back to this video and I will put the contact in the description box below for this as well. So I don't know if you can see, but this particular Kintsugi is very unique because the artist has not only used the gold powder to reunite these two pieces that have been broken, but they've also put these amethyst, for example, I can see, and other semi-precious stones that I don't necessarily recognize. And so this is unique in the sense that there is this sense of wholeness to it that has been re-established. So ironically, it was something that was broken, but it has been made whole again, but not by itself. This time there are so many other components, almost as if they were acquiring, wisdom by going through a lot in life, and going through a lot of experiences that break you down. They break you to pieces. But then when you put yourself back together, it's never by yourself. It's with the help of others. And then you take a piece of them with you. And I absolutely love this concept. And yeah, I really liked it. It's very heavy. Like, I'm really struggling to hold it in my hand. As you can imagine, it is marble. So yeah, really, really happy about this. Now, I think that's it, because I have to say there weren't as many. It was on a smaller scale than usual this year, Mind, Body, Spirit, and there weren't as many stands as I'm used to see. And to be honest with you, something that we had this conversation with other people, there were a lot more commercial stands rather than, how should I say this, spiritual ones. Although I understand that it's not necessarily enlightening. So just to give you an example, there were obviously Tower and Oracle decks. There were, as I said, Blue Angel, Rockpool, and other resellers. There were crystal, like for example, there was Mineralism from Sydney. It was also there. And then we had the usual tarot readers and psychic readers and palm readers. But then those were limited in numbers, and ironically there were a lot more, people with businesses selling gadgets, for example. And it felt in many cases, and I don't want to give any example because I don't want to sound negative. I mean, it's still a business, and of course they need to find an outlet where to present their products to sell, absolutely. But it felt in most of the cases that they were not objects that were related to the essence or the spirit of Mind Body Spirit Festival. So just to, I won't give you an example, but I will tell you something similar. So it's almost as if you go to, I don't know, a supermarket to the veggie aisles in the supermarket, and you find a bucket for sale, and you know, just to try and make it look like it belongs there, they put some veggies inside the bucket. I mean, I get it. Yeah, of course, you can use a bucket, you can put the veggies inside the bucket, but if you're there to buy the veggies, a bucket is not really exactly what you're looking for. So that's what it felt like. And I don't know, maybe it was just me, but I've been going to these festivals ever since 2012 in Australia. So that will be 12 years. And apart from the pandemic years, they happen twice a year. So I've been to a few of these, and this is the first time in which I literally saw many more buckets than veggies. If you allow me to stay in the metaphor. In any case, it doesn't matter. I mean, it is what it is. Maybe there were some reasons behind it, and I cannot possibly know that. But that was it for today. Wow, a very long video. Thank you so much. If you're still here, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. See you soon. Have a great day.